we have been recently focusing on a lot of topics, none to which have anything to do with fitness.
Yeah, we've kind of deviated away from fitness and health, haven't we?
We have a bit.
We're more talking about like our life experiences, which is also good. Like I want to be open and honest about who I am as a human, and humans are complex beings.
They are. They have many intricate paths and wavelengths.
Yeah.
And some people you end up being on that same wavelength with, and some people just
Drift
aren't
away, you know.
there.
Like I talked a lot about sexuality in the last podcast, but this podcast I am going to tone down on that topic. I realise it is out of my scope of practice to talk about that. You've actually got sex therapists out there that might focus on that type of world, you know. So if you're struggling in that area or department, hit me up. I do know some sex therapists. I actually don't. That's lying. I don't want to lie to you guys. I don't know anyone.
I
but
want to be open and honest about everything I say. I know sex therapists. So you just double-edged sworded yourself.
I didn't know.
You did. But
I like your microphone.
thanks, man. Thanks. I thought I'd change it up a bit.
Creative.
It just sits on our shirt all the time. Feels a bit lonely.
Well, look at me. Every single episode, I feel like the last 3 episodes, I've had a cord coming out of my head. Pretty funny. I like it. You know, it gives off the pink sheep vibe.
Did we explain what the pink sheep was?
No, who didn't?
Oh no. Alright, well I'll just sit back and I'll stay quiet for this. And
No, you explained it. Coming from your mouth, it'll be a bit easier for them to understand, I feel, because my English is pretty poor.
So, Brendon describes himself as a pink sheep of the herd.
Yes.
Now, everyone is considered to be a white sheep. They follow the crowd. You get that odd black sheep here and there.
Not everyone, like.
Nah, not everyone, but
But a
you run
majority
into
of humans,
Run into 'em.
you would describe as pink sheep. I mean, no, white sheep, because like most people follow the herd, like follow the group or the average of what everyone's doing, right?
Take it away.
Then you've got the black sheep, which are like the people who deviate from the crowd or the normal way of life. You know, they see people doing their thing and they're like, no, you know what, I'm a bit different, so I'm going to go down this path. Then I've labelled myself as a pink sheep. So you've got the herd here, like the herd of white sheep here, going in this direction. You've got the black sheep kind of going away from them. Then you've got the pink sheep on a mountaintop, like just somewhere else. Gone like haywire, I'd say, like haywire. Like if you looked at a herd of sheep, the pink sheep would be on top of the fence or below the fence. Is that how you describe it?
I've never referred to myself as a pink sheep, so I don't have a definition for it.
Who called me a pink sheep? It wasn't myself.
It was.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, because no one in...
We'll have to cross-check this. Episode 14, you'll know who called me a pink sheep. So we should name this episode Pink Sheep, I reckon. Because I'm pretty sure, you know what, I'm 90% sure there are other pink sheep in the world. It's not just me. There's other pink sheep in the world. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Okay. Podcast.
Now, thinking about being a pink sheep, you have to use your mind.
Yeah.
You have to use your mind. So, mindfulness comes into play here.
Yeah, like
So-
if you put yourself into the mindset of being a pink sheep, you're like, I am a pink sheep. I am a pink sheep. Like, what's that word when you like talking yourself up to do something? Like in a dialogue, like I am good for this. Like I am strong.
Manifesting.
No, not manifesting. There's another word for it. Like I am strong before you do a lift. Anyways, yeah, in a dialogue. So it's I feel like it's actually become more prevalent in this day and age. Like more people are being like more open with there's a word for it. You say it all the time. Like if you say you're that type of person, then it's gonna come out with your actions and behaviors.
Manifesting.
I guess manifesting. You manifest good things come to you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh.
define to me what you think mindfulness means.
You know where I felt very mindful? When we went to a Buddhist temple, and there was this gong. So there was like this big bell you had to hit with a big log, right?
Oh, it's the patience gong or something, the gratitude gong.
Gratitude gong. So being thankful for anything that's happening in your life or your whole life, whatever you want to be grateful for or thankful that has happened in your life, you can hit that bong and remind yourself of those things.
Gong, not bong.
Gong.
You can hit that bong and...
Okay, we're not hitting bongs, we're hitting gongs. Like, boom. You know, is that how you describe it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, we were at this Buddhist temple. We had those incense. So we had incense. Like we went through a whole experience. We were meditating. We meditated for like it was like 5 minutes, but still we were meditating. And we got to this stage in this Buddhist temple where there was a big gong in the middle of this area, and what you had to do was hit a log. So you had to pull back the log and let it go, and it hits the gong. And it was supposed to represent you pulling back from your desires and then hitting the gong to like express the emotion of reminding yourself of what you should be grateful for. And we actually had a video blow up about hitting the gong and then doing pull-ups. And I said, this is good pull-up form. Did you remember that video? We got like 10k views or something, pretty stupid. But yeah, anyways, I feel like that experience, like being in that Buddhist temple, I was very grounded. And for me, mindfulness is being more aware of yourself and your place in the world. And another example of where I've been very mindful is I've had this background on my phone. Oh, I wish I could show them. And I've had it on here for just over a year now, a bit over a year. When me and Rianon started hanging out a lot more often, he wrote on my phone something about like, don't let your ego override your humility. And I always look at it's on my phone background, right? I always look at my phone and it just reminds me that you are never bigger than anyone else or bigger than your thoughts, whatever it might be. And I feel like that's just a big reminder to myself that you are never to be a bit more grounded and be okay with what has happened in your life, whatever it is.
Yeah, mindfulness is just, being aware at the end of the day. Being aware that you're not the only person in the world.
Yes.
The world doesn't revolve around you. And just having that extra chess piece, what's the word? You've got to be 5 steps ahead of your next opponent. Always good to be 5 steps ahead of your next opponent.
Yeah.
So being mindful of the fact that you've got to learn to be humble in defeat and grateful in your winnings.
Fortune.
In your fortune. Yeah. Grateful in your fortune.
Grateful in fortune. And what was the other one? The defeat one? Okay in defeat.
Yeah.
Mm.
My brain's not really working today.
I feel like to always be neutral. Like good times shouldn't elevate your mood too much. Bad times shouldn't depress your mood too much. You should always be on a straight line in terms of your emotions. And this comes into like emotional intelligence, I feel. Because just because something really good happens in your life doesn't mean you have to be fully ecstatic, because 2 seconds later you could have something happen to you that brings you back down. And what, you're going to go into a depressive episode as well, straight after being so high. So your life is just going to be a roller coaster of emotions, and you're always going up and down and up and down. Whereas another person might be able to have something really good happen to them, have something really bad happen to them, but their emotions are always in the same line. I'm not saying be completely emotionless, and this is something that I've actually fought with a lot. I've always said to myself and kind of portrayed this being of that I'm completely emotionless. I have no emotions to anything. But what I realized was I do have emotions, I just don't express them. I don't express when I'm like super happy or super excited. I also don't express when I'm super sad or super depressed. I feel like I'm always on that straight line. Have those emotions of very like happiness, but I don't express them to the point of showing it out to the world because I feel like you doing that puts you at risk of the opposite. Yeah, vulnerability, yourself going down into the opposite path where you're actually going to be roller coastering, and roller coastering is never good for anyone.
Yeah. When I was at school, I went to counselling when I was younger. 'Cause I was getting bullied, and one of the
I would have bullied you.
you probably would have, but I
No, I reckon we would have been good mates, man.
anyway. Oh, ruined my story.
You got bullied in school.
Yeah, that was the main objective of that story. But anyway, I went to a counsellor, and the counsellor, I would always revolve around the bad things. I would always let the bad things sit at the forefront of my head, and I never really let it pass. And the one thing that one of the methods that he taught me to sort of focus on getting rid of the bad thoughts. Is that a cricket?
Yep. We're in Australia, guys.
It's crickets when it's hot. It's
The only
middle of
people that are
day.
going to see this podcast are people that live in Australia anyway. So I feel like them hearing crickets is a pretty normal thing to them. So
Anyway,
crickets, guys. Yeah. Summer.
he walked me through a process on how to sort of alleviate the bad thoughts from your brain. And it was like, so it started off with him going, all right, do you have a water bottle with you? I was like, yes. He goes, all right, say everything that you need to into that water bottle. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, say every bad thing that's on your mind out loud into that bottle and then put the lid on it after. I was like, all right. So I took my bottle, took the lid off. I didn't fucking speak into it like that. I was just speaking into it. I was just telling him everything that was on my mind. And I put the lid on and he goes, all right. Now imagine you throw it in the water and you let it go down the river.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's gone.
But this river is a circle. Those bad thoughts are always going to come back and past you, but it's still just going to go down the river again and again and again and again and again and again.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
So
Bad things happen to everyone in life.
Yeah.
Your bad thing is never worse than someone else's.
Correct.
Everyone is going to have their own battles and own demons that they're fighting.
Yep.
So you being like saying like, oh, I've had such a bad day. This bad thing happened to me. You could be talking to someone that
Actually had a bad day.
well, you can't really compare like what's worse than others because to me
Everyone's-
it's all about mindset.
Everyone's
What you
unique.
think of it.
Everyone's
You know what I mean?
unique.
Like to me, like I could have a really shit day, but no one would actually know about it because I'm not going to really be vocal, whereas someone will. And you know, if I go into the mindset of thinking my day was worse than that, why are you complaining? Then I'm disregarding that person's thoughts.
Correct.
I'm not being empathetic at all because
Yes.
that person has just been more vocal than I have been about those feelings or that day, whatever it is.
That's where mindfulness comes into it. So like you've got to be aware that if you are going through a bad day, you can't compare it to someone else. You can't vocalize to make it seem like the other person, their voice is
thoughts
invalid.
Yeah.
And then you have to be very neutral in the aspect of you got to know who you can trust talking to about your day being that bad and who will just be there to listen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will just communicate with you, tell you what's wrong, and then they'll just give an answer.
Yeah.
When all they need is just beep beep. Yep, I'm listening. Yep.
For me, like I like I know not everyone's like this, but for me, whenever I do talk to people about anything that's happening in my life, the only reason I ever talk to anyone about it is because I want to hear their opinion. That's the only time I ever talk about anything that's happening in my life. If I don't need their opinion, I will never say anything to them.
Subconsciously, it gets it off your mind as well.
Well, yeah. But like for me, like if I need an opinion from that specific person,
You'll ask them.
then I won't ever talk to them. I won't ever talk about that problem to that person.
Yes.
So the only time I ever talk to someone about something is if I respect that person's opinion enough to want it.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, this
It's like I don't need to be vocal and open about what I'm feeling every day of my life because I feel like I don't want to be a burden on anyone. I know that's such a toxic masculine trait. Like,
I was just
I will fight my own battles. I'm fine. And I feel like, for me, like, I don't want to burden other people with my problems. That's actually the crux of it. Because I would rather just deal with it on my own. I know I have been able to, and I already have people that support me enough that I know if the problem's too big for me to deal with on my own, then I can always resort to telling those people, and one of them is you.
Do you feel like, because a lot of people limit themselves to the people that they can speak to, do you feel like limiting the amount of people that you tell benefits you? Like keeping your circle small? Because I feel like
I
that's
feel like I've gone through stages of having big circles, small circles. Now I've got in the middle, I guess. Like it's a big circle,
it's like a
but
medium circle.
yeah,
I
it's
feel
like a
like
big circle, but it's like a close knit big circle.
yeah, it's literally I'd just classify it as family.
Yeah, yeah. We've
Like-
kind of created a little family out of our friends.
Yeah,
In a
yeah.
way.
Well, we've created a whole memory bank with them. Gone to Europe.
Oh, there we go. So I
Spent a
guess
whole few years
I'm not really
going
limiting
out.
myself if I've got like all these people around me that I can
Yeah.
go to, and my own
100%.
family. But you know, there's people out there that might only have that one person to talk to,
Yeah,
and placing all your trust into one person sometimes can put you at a bit of a risk, you know, because if that person ends up being untrustworthy,
They
you've
use
put
it.
all your eggs into that one basket,
yeah.
allowed them to like you become vulnerable to that one
Yeah, yeah,
person.
yeah.
Like you do want to trust them, but like sometimes you run the risk of them being able to
Take
control
advantage.
you. Because if you've fully opened up to that one person, what's to say they can't turn around and use that information you gave them to basically put you down in the dumps?
Mm.
Then you
They
kind
use
of
it as ammo.
then you're kind of stuffed because you're under their little
Thumb.
thumb.
Yeah.
You become their the white sheep to their shepherd.
Yeah. You do. You join the herd.
You join the herd, their herd.
Their herd. Yeah.
Yeah.
They take control.
So they're collecting sheep.
Do you have any like self-limiting beliefs that sort of taint your everyday life?
Yeah, pride.
Right.
The pride on my chest. So
Tell them the story you were telling me before about the pride.
which one?
The one in jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah. So I recently started training for jiu-jitsu. Oh, what would you even call that? I've joined the jiu-jitsu
Yeah,
gym, like a
Brazilian
grappling gym.
jiu-jitsu, Yeah.
And I've had 4 sessions so far. So this is my second week. I've done my second week of training. Every single session without fail, even my first day, I've wanted to roll with the teacher. So obviously the teacher has had like 10 plus years of experience. They're black belts. They've entered competitions. Some of them are MMA fighters, so they've got the full cauliflower ears and everything. They're also like units, like huge, like at least 100 plus kilos. I'm only 80. Like not that makes a huge difference, but you know, it's 20 kilos of weight, you know, to put into perspective. And they're a lot more skilled and agile compared to me. Anyways, we're doing 6-minute rounds and they're just ragdolling me, throwing me around the room. It's a humbling experience, honestly. Like just yesterday, I got picked up, folded in half by one of the teachers, and he walked me around the room. I was like, wow, to be able to do this to a human, right? So, especially a big human. I wouldn't say I'm small by any means. Like I'm pretty. I'm not saying I'm huge or anything, but like 85 kilos is pretty. I don't know. I've got a bit of size. Let's just say that. I've got a bit of size.
He's not small and he's not huge.
Yeah, I'm not small, I'm not huge. Anyways, so to be able to be picked up and thrown around the room like that easily, it was a humbling experience. And for me, like I've gone into those experiences wanting to roll with the teachers, knowing firsthand that I was going to be ragdolled because of the fact that I know their experience, I can see their experience, and I knew it was going to be a humbling experience for me because I know that I go into a lot of situations with a bit of an ego in a way. And I knew going into jiu-jitsu, something that was completely foreign, completely new to me, that it's a bit of a combat sport, it's a fighting sport. I learn a lot from the mistakes I make. So I knew going into those battles with people that were a lot more experienced than me, that I was going to be humbled, but I was going to make a lot of mistakes. And then that was going to turn into me making a lot more lessons and growing as an individual from those experiences. Not just as a jiu-jitsu athlete or anything, but in terms of like the fact that I will never be, Jonathan actually always says like, be the dumbest person in the room and you always learn. So I feel like that's a big lesson that I've taken and I'm still going through to this day. Because if you think you're the smartest person in the room, you'll never learn anything new. Then you'll eventually become the dumbest person in the room. If you go into the room thinking you are the dumbest person in the room, you'll always learn and you'll always grow and develop into a better human. So yeah, I feel like there are lots of people that go into situations with self-limiting beliefs, right? They believe they're not good enough. There's this thing called imposter syndrome, where they think they're not good enough to fill the boots that they have gone into. Like, I need the definition. Let me get the definition of this word because I've been using it a bit too much.
Imposter syndrome is you not being able to believe that you can fit into a future version of yourself.
Yeah, like a classic example of that is when we started this business, I took the role of managing the team.
Yep.
I guess I've never been in any management roles before. Didn't know what it would be like. I just put myself head first, made heaps of mistakes, and if I talk to some of our trainers from back in the day, they would tell me like, you know, a lot has changed from, you know, day one to now. I'm actually really fortunate to have our first trainers still with us right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Some
of our, which is cool to see. But anyways, if you always go into situations with that negative mindset that you will never be good enough, I feel like you will never change. You're always going to be doing the comfortable.
Yeah.
You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's always been my thing.
I think one way to overcome that that hurdle, is to literally write it down. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but like knowing that you're limiting yourself by not being able, like you believing that you're not able to read a book, you're not able to ride a bike, you're not able to lose that 10 kilos that you want to lose. Writing it down or drawing it up or like vocalizing it to someone and getting it out off your chest is definitely one way to like sort of make it more,
Give yourself that motivation.
More motivation, more
Confidence.
reassurance, more confidence. Like it's just a constant reassurance.
It's like that reinforcement thing.
Yeah, reinforcement.
And I've seen this new trend on Instagram of people like wanting to start new fitness challenges or like some type of change to their life per se. And they put it on Instagram, like they post it as a reel or a story, whatever it might be. Did you get it? No. Anyways, stopped. So they put it on Instagram or post it as a reel or a story to kind of like give them the
validation.
Not the validation, to tell people like, oh, I'm doing this, and then they have to kind of do it because they're like, shit, I just posted on Instagram. I feel like that is a good way. It's basically the same thing as writing it down, except they're documenting it on their Instagram page.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to run a marathon. If they say that on Instagram and then they don't actually follow through with it, people will be like, yeah, why did you say that?
Yeah. Unfollow.
Unfollow, yeah, he's out. He's out of the picture. By the way, guys, I said I was going to do a triathlon.
You said that episode 1.
I did, didn't I? It's episode 13, so 13 weeks since then. Still haven't entered one. Don't know if I ever will, just because I hate cycling. I drive around and I can not stand cyclists. But you know what gave me more motivation again? I was talking to one of my clients who's a triathlete, and he said, oh yeah, cycling is really shit around our area. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, there's actual cycling tracks, so you should actually take your bike to a place like Cronulla, like Kernell, and do tracks like that, because he said, I hate cyclists on the road. I would never be one of
Yeah,
those.
you actually have to go away from the roads.
You have to actually go away from the road. So I was like, man, so I have to still do it. Don't know, I hate the training. I hate it. I actually hate it. And now I've picked up jits and found a new love for it. So I feel like, how do I explain that to people? For me, when it comes to training or choosing the type of training that you're going to follow through with for the rest of your life, it doesn't have to be for the rest of your life. Sometimes you can actually take something up for a short period of time before you realize, like, oh, actually, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm not actually motivated to continue doing it.
It takes a couple of weeks to get into the rhythm of it, or even like know if you like it or not.
Exactly, 100%. Like, I just hate running, swimming, and cycling. It was actually a drag for me to get up and be like, oh, I gotta go for my run. Oh, I gotta go for my swim. Oh, I gotta go for my bike ride, whatever it might be. Whereas, yeah, whereas going to the gym is easy because I love the gym. I love lifting. I love increasing my weights or trying to get more pistol squats, whatever it might be that I'm doing. But say I have the drive because I actually enjoy that type of training.
That's the difference.
That's the biggest difference. And now jits as well. Like, I actually can't wait to go to jits, and I'm actually maybe increasing the amount of sessions I do per week if I can. And UC3 as well. Like, I feel like you've always been into like group training type studios, gyms, stuff like that.
I feel like it's just the challenge side of things that sort of tempts us to go. Like, doing C3 is not hard, but it's definitely a challenge to be consistent. I think that's the hardest part of like doing these new training regimes. Is like you can get into it pretty easy and go for it. That's sweet, but it's the actual regime, like the actual repetition of going and finding time to go and locking in times and going, can you do this? If you're not going by yourself, you've got to organise it with someone else. Or at that point, you just go, nah, I'm just going by myself. Sweet. But like doing it for you and honing it all in on you and what you want to do. Like, Johnny didn't go the other day because he was sick. You still went.
Oh, jits, yeah. Because I knew I'd still love it. Anyway, I was rolling around with random people and still rolled around with the teacher again.
See, like I went early the other day. I went by myself and I loved it. I was just in my own little pocket. Just didn't do it. Just was like this, blinkers on, did 45 minutes, crawled out.
Anyway, so moving on. So when it comes to training, as Rianon was just saying, like, for us personally, we love a challenge. We love something that is going to push us harder each session.
We do love a challenge.
So for me, like, I feel like that's really related to goals and goal setting. So for both of us, we like to set ourselves like really hard to achieve goals. For me, like, it's like setting a target in such a short amount of time, because it pushes me to be like, shit, I've got to do this. Shit, I've got to actually push harder in the gym or push harder in my workouts, whatever it is, so I can get closer and closer each week. If you're not doing that, then it becomes more exercise rather than training.
Yeah.
Because there's a big difference, and this is something that not many people know.
Give your definition of exercise and training. Because
exercise and training are two completely different things.
What makes them different?
The biggest difference is the goals behind it. Because training is goal-centric. Like, you're training for a half marathon. So you're training to do 21 kilometers, a 21 kilometer run, which means you have to make sure that when you're running, you have like, I'm doing a 5K run today. I'm going to try attempt a 10K run next week. Like, you're always trying to up yourself to get towards that 21, whatever it might be. Then if you're just exercising, it will just be, I'm going for a run. There's no distance. There's no
structure
speed.
behind it.
There's no structure. There's no, oh, I need to push harder today so I can get closer to that 21 goal, whatever it is, because you're just doing it for fun, doing it to get movement into your day. You know what I mean? And people do it with the gym too. To relate it to the gym, because I know a lot of people go to the gym these days. It could be just going to the gym to lift. You know, you don't actually have a goal in mind. Like, you're not trying to get to a 100 kilo squat, or you're not trying to increase your leg strength or leg mass. So you're not measuring those type of things. You're just going in there and doing what feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Actually, I've never looked at it like that. But exercise and training are two very different things. Because exercise you can just do. It's easy.
Anyone can do.
You can just tick it off and say, yeah, I did some exercise today.
I did some exercise today. Whereas training is actually like...
structured and planned, and
yes.
It turns into a bit of a free-flowing motion instead of it being a chore.
Yeah, it's not a chore, because then like in your head, like, oh, I'm training for this goal. If I don't train today, then that means it's gonna take me longer to get there. Yeah. That's basically my best way of explaining it. Like right now for my gym training, I know I'm trying to get to a heavier squat. So that's one of my main goals.
Yep.
But I'm also trying to get to a Nordic, which is like, Nordical. Yeah, so trying to get to that. I'm trying to get to a splits.
Explain to the people what a Nordic curl is.
I'm not going to get down on the floor.
No,
So,
just explain it.
so you've got your knees to foot on the floor like this, then your upper body like.
So use your fingers as your legs.
So
Use your fingers as your legs like that.
Yeah.
So these are your feet on the floor?
That's my feet. That's my foot and my shins. So my knees is at my ankle. Then that's my upper body, right? So I'm in a right angle right now. So from my knees up to my head, I'm going that way towards the floor. So trying to control that motion and then trying to pull back up again as well. Does that make sense?
Okay. I was going to use that.
Huh?
Through the pen. I was going to use an example. So you're tucking your heels. You're tucking your heels under a bar, and you're focusing on the downward motion of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
that, and then coming
your
back
toes are up like this under a bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're under like that, and then you're leaning forward and coming back up, and you're using your hamstrings to sort of bring yourself down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's just another one of my like injury prevention things, and trying to make sure that my body's strong and rigid for all my sports. Because I just love all these different types of sports. Like I love just pushing myself to
different limits.
Yeah, to different limits. And recently I've actually gotten into like skill acquisition. I'm trying to get into a handstand, and that involves a lot of wrist mobility, shoulder mobility, core strength, and I'm testing those things through like, hanging leg raise maxes, stuff like that. Anyways, not to go too deep into my training regime or anything, I have goals for each session. So each session has a specific target that I'm trying to improve on every single week, but that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. Do you have any like specific goals that you're trying to achieve in yours?
Right now, it's just to focus on finding a routine that makes my whole week balanced. Balanced to the point where I'm training at least 3 times a week. At C3, I'm training at the gym 3 times a week. Like I don't want to be at the gym 6 times a week anymore. Yeah. I know the biggest thing for me has been change, like being able to have the ability to be like, all right, I need to change this, I need to change this.
So for you, it's more about creating the balance. You're using C3 as like more of a fun, community, cardio type exercise thing. And then your gym is actually the actual training. Yeah. But you're trying to go like a little bit less with that. I'm only doing 3 sessions a week now at the gym too. Yeah. I'm doing like push-pull legs. Well. And then if I have a 4th day free, I'll do a full body.
Yeah, so I'll train with Fondle 3 times a week in the gym, and then the other 3 times a week I'll do C3. But because my mornings are so hectic with work, I can't actually fit in C3. So I'm just trying to balance. That's what I want to figure out. I just want to now that I know that C3 is a part of my life, or like just doing some sort of group training is going to be a part of my life, I know I want at least 3 mornings of my week, whether that be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, that I know that are just for this, and 100% for the C3. And then the other 3 will just be with Fon or whatever. So now it's just about sitting down, writing everything out, writing all my clients out, making sure that my calendar from Monday to Saturday is like fully locked in. And that way you can, I don't know, like a lot of people like go to work and they're just like, they go into it and it's just like, yep, this is your structured day, sweet. This is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you go home.
Yeah.
But with what we do and with what a lot of people do is you have control over your own calendar, but not having structure.
Like business owners, entrepreneurs, stuff like that.
But not having a structure from a business, you tend to sort of fall off the bandwagon and be like, oh, okay, I don't have many obligations, so I can just do whatever I want whenever I want. Which is true, you can, but you need structure. Otherwise, you fall off.
Yeah, like there was moments in this past year, because we've been going for just over a year now, a year and 2 months, something like that. And as we've been operating for a year, like running our business for a year so far, what I can say is throughout that year, my training has really changed. It's gone up and down, up and down. I've gone from doing 6 hours a week, 10 hours a week, down to 0 some weeks, because I didn't know when I could actually fit in those training sessions. But yeah, I feel like people need to be okay and be good with embracing that change, changing their schedules, change with their times, and change with their ability to actually get to training. So.
Oh, that's the best. My friend Michael's just come in and fucking hit everything.
I know. broke our lights and stuff. Yeah. You'll be able to see this in episode 13.
Far out.
Falling asleep for the other 12.
And I feel like that's a bit of a cue and response thing, because something that we read in a book, what was the book called? Atomic Habits, was the way to get rid of a bad habit or a negative behavior is to reduce the cues or reduce the chances of you being able to elicit that behavior.
Yeah.
So if you want to stop smoking, maybe you have a popular smoking spot that you always go to. Say it's like your backyard, like you have a table in your backyard that you always go to.
We had the spot when we went out.
Yeah, we used to have a weed spot. So there used to be a spot that we'd always go to smoke weed or pot. If we just stopped going there, it would have probably reduced the chances of us smoking. And now we don't smoke at all. We don't even go to that spot anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe that could have been a catalyst of why we stopped.
The fact that we weren't fully working as well. The fact that we had a bit of freedom on our hands. And
well, that's a cue and response thing.
Yeah.
The cues were that we had all this free time.
We made ourselves busier.
I've got to embrace a change.
Adapt
to a change in my mindset. I feel like that is a growth mindset, in a sense.
Oh, big time. Big time. Like we were talking about mindfulness the other minute. Like we were talking about mindfulness before. Being mindful of the fact that that something has to change. It's daunting to do or think about, but once you actually go through the process of dealing with it in your own head and going
and doing the action,
following through with the action,
exactly, that's all it is.
That's the main thing.
And what was that thing I always talk about? Masculine and feminine energy.
Oh, this is a good topic. Go for it.
Well, what do you think of like masculine and feminine energy?
I think it can be a very controversial topic to speak about.
It can
because
be.
Everyone is very opinionated, and a lot of people.
Yeah, but it doesn't it's not masculine doesn't mean male and feminine doesn't mean female. Because there is males that can express feminine energy, and males that can. No, and females that can express masculine energy. Yeah. And I feel like no one is completely one side. Everyone nowadays, in dawn of time, has had a balance of the two. Obviously leaning more to one side. People are believing that they are certain animals and stuff like that. So I feel like You know, we're in a world today where we've given everyone the ability to decide what they are and what they aren't.
And who they want to be.
And who they want to be. And giving them the right to decide, you know what, I'm a tree today. So I'm going to be breathing and drinking water like a tree. So you water them, you know, if you want to, like whatever it is.
Imagine seeing that. Oh no. There's a guy in the
Anyways.
city doing that.
What, being a tree?
Yeah.
Or does it just stand in the same spot?
It was on TikTok. I saw it on TikTok.
Does it stand in the same spot? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I saw it on TikTok and it made me,
Man is tree.
yeah. Man standing like tree in city. I don't know.
Is it Sydney?
I think so. I don't fully remember. I can't find it.
Anyways, you know, we don't want to talk too much about the changing landscape of the world and humans in general.
Oh, actually, talking on TikTok, you've been getting stuck in a few chains recently, my friend.
I have.
We're mid-working, and this guy just goes, as he's scrolling, goes, I'm stuck. I can't move. What do I do? I was like, turn your phone off.
You know, I've always gone through stages of having TikTok, deleting TikTok, having TikTok, deleting TikTok. Every time I've gone to download TikTok, it has always been about putting my content out there. But then as soon as I download it, I get into these ruts of just scrolling, and then I get stuck in these ruts of watching things like that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Like Derby County scoring 3 goals on the weekend against Exeter. You know, that was a fantastic game.
Who were the goal scorers?
That stumped him. Baxter, wasn't it?
Baxter was
Barden?
one. Nah, Chris Williamson
Yep.
was the second one. And number 3 was no, not Bukayo Saka. He plays for Sheffield Wednesday. Bukayo Saka. Who was the third guy?
Johnson.
Brandt.
Brandt.
Oh, yeah.
Brandt, yeah.
I know that guy.
Harry Brandt.
Yeah, I had coffee with him last month.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Harry Brandt.
How do you think I got you that jersey from Derby County?
Oh, that's right, yeah. So our friend Michael knows Harry Brandt. And he actually got his jersey, and I've actually got it. Do you know what? Episode 14, we should actually write it down. I'm going to be wearing my Derby County jersey. So
Did
everyone
his
can see.
name fall off in the washing machine?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, spewing.
Because it's an old jersey. Is what it
I
is.
was wondering why that.
This is
There was,
debut jersey.
You know. Anyways, guys, I've got to say, like, the biggest takeaway people should take from this podcast would be to set goals, set targets for yourself, and try and understand your training or exercise regime and decide, is it exercise or is it training? Do you have a goal behind what you're doing every day, or is it just, I'm just going to go to the gym
another thing
and
is
lift some weights?
another thing is to be vulnerable with yourself and not to be vulnerable with too many people.
Oh, yes.
That's a good takeaway. Oh my god, I'm
Yes.
sweating. Oh my god, I'm sweating like a
Summer in Sydney, guys. Oh, by the way, just plugging Blockstar here. It's my cousin's brand, so I'll tag him below, right?
Make it a hot tub stream, boys.
Oh, we
Hot
should
tub.
we should do it. A hot tub stream.
We should.
No,
Why not?
Wasn't. Don't agree with
Hold each other's hands.
Anyway, there you go. Bye.